articulate this. So you're really laying out this is the vision based on best practices, but also making sure as consistently as possible to engage all of your stakeholders, which immediately are the faculty, staff, administration, students, parents, etc. They're in your district, and of course the larger district. Now, as we know, and I've said this previously, the current landscape obviously has made things a little bit interesting. And I use that term lightly. Let me ask you this question, especially through the lens of those who are in the buildings day to day. So when I think of, or when we think of our faculty, our staff, our administration, looking at that particular dynamic and the unprecedented hurdles that they have to clear, through the lens of what you're doing as a board member, what are some things that you're looking at policy-wise to help with that component? Because it seems like, and again, we know that some things with what's happened in Gwinnett, what we've seen happen recently in Cobb County, there's a lot of concern out there. There's a lot of concern about, how are you going to be able to, quote, do all these things when, we'll just be blunt, the workplace environment has been a little bit unstable just because of what's going on health-wise. So given your role as a school board representative, and given that health concern or pandemic concern or what have you, based within that role, what are things that you're seeing that could be put in place policy-wise to help with those that are in their day-to-day?
Right. I first, before I answer that question, I do want to recognize a paraprofessional. Her name is Maud Jones. Jones contracted COVID at school. She was a paraprofessional who worked with special needs students, and she was so dedicated to the school system, and she was there in person, and she was, hands-on and doing the best she could to ensure that she could care for her students. And I've spoken with her daughter, and it's amazing to hear the wonderful stories of this woman. And we've really lost a great human being who loved people, and she was so committed to the school system. So I want to honor her life and also recognize her service and her dedication to Gwinnett County Public Schools and to the students who are in her class. So having said that, we are in an interesting time, and the time we're in is complicated, to say the least. We have people who, believe in keeping the schools open by any means necessary. And then we have another, group of people who are like, we want thresholds, and we want to rely on science to determine whether we are open or closed. And we all know that some students thrive digitally and some students thrive in person. And so the students currently have the choice. Student parents have the choice. Teachers and staff do not have the choice. And many teachers and staff, they don't feel, not all of them, okay, but some of them don't feel as valued because they don't want to be in person because of the risks and for other various personal reasons regarding their own health situation and their own risk level. And so, we have this situation where as board members, we recognize we have these two sides of, these two perspectives, and they're very real. And we have to honor the perspective, whether we agree or disagree, of these two different groups of people. And so our goal is, as a board member, is to try to create policy that could be mutually beneficial. And of course, we can't make everyone happy, but we understand that some of the issues we're having in our community is because we don't have clear guidelines. We don't have clear data related to scenario thresholds. And so As a board member, I would love to be able to advocate for a board-sponsored pandemic committee. And this committee would be inclusive of our teachers, staff, which can include janitors, include a paraprofessionals, substitutes, cafeteria workers, bus drivers, just really engaging from a cross-functional perspective, and a very diverse representation of our community, people who want to be in school and people who are really hardcore sort of digital learning people because of the safety related to that. Have them all at the table, and let's come up with some recommendations and provide the board and the superintendent with recommendations on